a threat or disengage when the Shen is separated, I don't think it really works. So I actually like Gragas. You know, always been a famous Siege champion, whether it was Shushay style AP Gragas back in the day, or the tank Gragas. You just use the ult for true disengage rather than popping people.
We'll be that all the same. We'll see if ADD can make this one work where Smeb tried and ultimately did fail. I mean, then again, Huni, you know, so much damage in a 53-minute game. I think I did the math. It averaged out to almost 1,600 damage per minute.
It's tricky to execute for MVP. Very much a window in the early to mid game to try and snowball it away, as we saw KT do in Game 2. But Maokai Rise, 1-3-1, team fighting, all of them seem to heavily favor Longzhu Gaming, and they have great pick tools too, so even if Rengar gets going, they're going to have a lot of struggles setting up. The vision line starts to be advanced, and they can't get vision to allow their sieges to happen. They will also struggle, so impetus on MVP to execute in the early game, and not quite the level of comfort of, say, the Syndra or the Scion to get them there. Maybe we'll learn something about MVP, because it looks like Longzhu have got them in the draft.
We'll see what moves Beyond can make out of the jungle. Want to get going early with that Graves, get your Corki to that power spike as quickly as possible. Let's go ahead and get on to the Rift for Game 1, Longzhu versus MVP.
Spare a thought for these poor fans, of course.
There's a lot of fervor in that voice right there.
Remember, they had to wait an extra 57 minutes to see their game, scheduled at 8 p.m., but of course, Telecom Wall went long and then some.
Just a bit. And there's a million people downstairs right now waiting to meet SK Telecom.
Did you count them all?
Yep.
I saw you counting whiskey bottles yesterday, so I thought maybe you could count to a million pretty fast.
Damn, that was a really good bar that you found. 117 different types and ages of, well, I mean, scotch, whiskey, bourbon, etc.
Well, that's 117 visits you got lined up then, Achilles.
Or one really messy one.
No, we don't condone that on this broadcast.
Well, Gragas is here.
One drink a night.
Gragas,
no more than that ever.
Gragas approves.
Yeah, but this Gragas is drinking Gatorade. They've gone for the soccer hooligan Gragas. I don't know what the actual name is, but he's definitely a soccer hooligan. I guess he could be an American football hooligan, but come on.
Then it's jungle juice if he's American. Oh boy, alrighty. Well, no shenanigans to start things off. But again, jungle pathing, we keep our eyes on that, especially on the side of Beyond if he wants to invade in onto Crash. Crash very much just going to be looking to hit that level 6 point as quickly as possible.
It's not so much an if. It kind of has to be an inevitability because, you know, the lanes are pretty set up in terms of pushing, in terms of early control. Gragas will win trades pretty heavily against Maokai. So in the early game, so I think you have to. I think you need to go completely one-track minded into being the invasion Graves, holding down the Rengar, and trying to snowball this game, because that's the only win condition available to MVP.
You can see Beyond will go ahead, take away this blue. Crash about to find out.
Sad kitty now.
Oh. Oh no. And he got the Scuttle Crab to let up a bit of pressure there for ADD.
There's that hooligan.
A bit further forward.
So you went to college, Achilles. Are there people like that in college? People with very large Gatorade bottles and getting really into sports?
I wouldn't even say that I would know this because I went to college. I would say that I know this because I lived in and around Philadelphia.
He's going to throw your region under the bus, huh?
Oh, yeah. Philadelphia fans are some of the most dedicated, but they're also sometimes the worst type of people.
Would you call it Philadelphia, Gragas?
Sure. It depends. If his team wins,
no, Worlds could be in Philadelphia. You may or may not have this clip come out of context.
I'm just saying, when they won the World Series, a lot of things were destroyed in a victory parade. It was like a happy riot that occurred.
Happy Riot watched the first game, I think, the first series of tonight as well. Well, power farming, that's going to happen for Beyond, and maybe we all collectively get a chance to, you know, unwind. We can talk more about silly things because there's just too much epic League of Legends to talk about in Game 1. Or Series 1.
Series 1, yep.
Game, series, match, it gets confusing sometimes.
Yeah, this Game 1, not a whole lot to chat about.
Farming. But every time Longzhu start to win trades, start to pressure, MVP get a little bit worried. The fans should get worried too, because we've kind of covered a couple of times now the snowball nature of the MVP draft. Best from ahead is the nice way to put it. Crap from behind, I guess, is the not so nice way to put it.
Oh, Beyond coming into the mid lane. It's a bit of damage down on the fly, but not going to force up any summoner spells.
Pretty hard to force a summon a spell when it's exactly 0 CC.
It's very true.
Also, a couple of biscuits, that's the most you're going to get.
Red buff isn't a CC?
I mean, it isn't, right?
Yeah. It's not a lockdown. Nothing concrete.
Farm.
Name of the game right now. Should see our first recall coming through from ADD. And if anybody, I think, is going to play this Gragas and maybe kind of divert from the standard build, it's probably ADD. But should just be the tanky Gragas that we see come out. Yeah, it's going to be the Null Magic Mantle starting us off.
I mean, you often see it almost exclusively against Maokai because it pushes so well and that you just get to happily build Spirit Visage, and between the buff there was on the Happy Hour passive and the Spirit Visage, you basically get casually 200 health every few seconds. No way to push you out of lane, 2 different types of AoE wave clear, and even the body slam if you want to count that.
Beyond is here, finds Expression. Forces out the flash.
Seemed unnecessary with no Realm Warp. It's bot lane.
Yeah, Maha getting rooted up by that deadly flourish. Gets the heal, holds on to the flash. He's not able to come up the kill yet, but still good pressure coming through from Prey and Gorilla as expected.
And boots Caitlyn. Maha does take boots on every AD carry. We saw it on Jhin, and that seems to be Jhin exclusive for other AD carries, but whether it's Kog'Maw or Caitlyn or Jhin, he goes the boot start. Maybe he's just realizing that he ends up getting out-traded by some of these superstar AD carries, so having an extra biscuit can't necessarily be a bad thing.
Well, Prey doesn't listen to Bang clearly, doesn't opt in for those.
This is Ninja Tabi.
Ninja Tabi just goes for the.
To be honest, it's a
Swifties.
great Ninja Tabi game for him too.
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't watching the first series. Prepping for his own series, apparently.
He's like, I'll just get the VOD. Here's the audience from the back room. He's like, oh, it must be a good one.
Just listened. Could have saved his life. Could have had Ninja Tabi. It's definitely going to become a thing now.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to start picking that one up. I mean, it's smart. Makes a lot of sense.
And when they buffed it a further time after people were buying it, you knew it would crop up a lot. But again, since the days of 50 armor magic resist Ninja Tabi Graves, where you just were the most sad AD carry, as he did 150 damage a hit and you did 20. We haven't seen it in a long time. Don't know if it'll be a Ninja Tabi nerf or a buff to other boots, but given that tanks love Ninja Tabi, probably going to be a nerf. Given it's League of Legends, probably going to be a nerf.
That's a good point.
We don't like buffing in our town, Achilleos.
I mean, we already know that we're going to get a tank rework.
Can they do less, please? I want a tank. What's the word? Not shortening. I want the tanks to do more tanky things like Scion and less killing.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. And it's a trade-off that kind of has to happen. But speaking of trades,
Prey's still level 5. Probably just a single creep away from 6. Can't tell for sure.
spotted, but Beyond trying to arrive in time. Throws out the collateral damage,
Wow.
doesn't get him. Fly takes it away. Looked like he might have had it for a second there.
He went out of vision, so I wasn't sure. Did end up getting passed over to Fly. And a quiet laning phase is happy times to Longzhu. Find a gold lead as well.
Yeah,
Even
they
if it's
just wanna-
slender. Oh, here we go.
Oh, Max. He gets rooted. Maha's going to have the body block. The remainder of these shots. Fourth one still probably would not have killed the Malzahar, but would have certainly sent him back to base.
Is it just me, or is the sound on the Jhin ultimates getting louder? I feel like I notice it a lot more now. Maybe I'm listening intently more because it's such an epic series today, but I've been noticing very loud volume on that ability on 7.3. Calm down, Prey.
He got shadow buffed. Louder curtain call.
I mean, worked
Really,
for
to really
Mumu.
intimidate.
Worked for Mumu and his global crying.
Realm Warp into the bottom lane. Crash and Fly arrive. Jump right in on top of Maha. Come up with a very swift first blood. Max quickly will follow suit as Prey gets the last hit. Beyond dashing back in, coming over the wall, but low on mana. Has to flash away from that deathly flourish. Is not able to impact the fight in any meaningful way. And Longzhu, very nice start from them. 2-0 on the board.
And it was the ultimate utility 80 carry meta turret dive and try to take turret play, but it didn't even have the teleport up on Maokai.
That's a mouthful.
Had the Realm Warp and the Rengar to do it for them, so super, super clean. Usually it's just warding over next to the Gromp, teleport in, and Maokai does the work, but this time, level 5s on the side of MVP, level 6s on the side of specifically Prey allowed the opening up from the start, very clean. The Snowball comp finds itself in a hole that it may never actually be able to climb out of.
Yeah, 2,000 gold down, just 9.5 minutes into this one. Ocean Drake up, but Longzhu, a couple members low, didn't want to rotate over and try to take that objective to get a little bit of damage in onto that tier 1 turret in bottom lane.
Ocean Drake's actually really good on Rise in particular to help with mana sustain. Obviously just fine and dandy on everyone else as a first spawn. I like to say nasty things about Ocean Drakes, but when it's the first one, it's still pretty good.
Just going to slow things down yet again. Beyond starting to rotate into the bottom lane. Should be able to get into the brush. Don't think there's any wards thrown down there by Gorilla until he gets into the first one. And now he's spotted.
So I have a question for you, Achilles.
Sure.
Have you ever had a sports hooligan-esque moment? Were you ever in that crowd when you went to sports or entertainment events and was rowdy?
No, not really. Maybe at concerts.
Are you a mosh pitter?
Occasionally.
Okay. You're known to dabble, just like your infrequent dalliances with Scotch.
My first festival was Ozfest. That was a great way to dive right into it.
I like to go. Oh, let's hold that story.
Yep, Gonna get body blocked. Oh, that was looking questionable for a second there. Max gets back in front.
He actually had a lot of power, so it was hard to evaluate how much damage you would do having both parts of the Ghost played already.
Crash is here yet again, but goes down the ward so they know that he's nearby. They'll clear that out. Beyond is here to back up his bottom lane.
Kind of the issue with Graves is that in games like this, when we see the Graves Rengar, if the enemy team has superior macro or is just first on the trigger to dive bot, Graves is usually caught somewhere where he can't really impact. If Graves walks in, there's a setup CC and he bursts people, he's great. But when he has to shadow, lane ganks or predict where the enemy is on the map and you're losing in pressure, Graves just kind of looks useless. These are the games where Graves doesn't do a lot of damage because he's either farming the jungle or waiting for a turret dive. He's never really proactively doing things. So a bit struggle street, and that zones away the bot lane once again. Graves just going to walk up for wave clear.
Get a little bit more damage on that, chipping it down quite nicely to net themselves that nice burst of gold.
He plays I'm Rowdies at wrestling shows.
Yes.
A bit of a lapsed wrestling fan, but when there's a show in the area. I actually went to one during Worlds. Monday Night Raw was being taped at the Staples Center, ironically, a couple of weeks before the World Final.
Okay.
And I found myself seated next to some young children, people who have obviously still believing in everything being as it seems. We'll hold that again.
Yeah, Fly tries to flash away, but the Nethergrass still comes through.
That's optimistic.
Throws down the Realm Warp, but not going to make it through that one. And that's going to be a kill picked up here for MVP. Goes over to Ian. Nice silence from Max.
He's like, well, I got off my ultimate, but it didn't really do anything, unfortunately, for Fly. Should lead to an Ocean Drake as well.
Yeah, and I mean, both summoners now down on the rise. Realm Warp, he's not going to be able to really impact.
Not really sure why he ghosted. I don't really know what that was going to do exactly.
I'm not sure either.
Nice. Unironic clap from the crowd. Okay.
Trying to go in on the Crash, Ace in the hole comes through. Gets a bit of damage down on the Rengar. I used to be a wrestling fan.
That's fair. I think a lot of people, had their dalliances when they were young.
Yeah, I used to watch WCW back in those days.
Oh, baby. You would not have been old when WCW was around.
I was not.
You were born in what, 94? 92? Okay, so, I mean, it folded in 2001, so you would have been 9 when it ended.
About to turn 25, Papa.
I forget these things sometimes. But those, young fans around are very much still into it, love John Cena, etc. I decided to, because I was with some, more serious wrestling fans, Stress, actually, the EU LCS caster.
Ah, yes.
And I decided that I would play the guy who was super also believing it, and, basically played it all and, cheered for all the good guys and believed that every single 2 count was going to be a 3. It was great.
I love seeing on every time there's an event
because there's always someone there who
Royal
knows
Rumble or something, and they're just like, I can't believe that he won. It's like, well, I very well can believe that he won.
But it's one of those things where there's there's people that definitely know, in on the situation. I'm certainly one of those people too, but I don't like to act like that. I like the kids to have fun. So I'm just like,
that's your role.
I can't believe this is happening. I'm just super into everything. The kids seem to enjoy it. A lot of the adult fans thought I was crazy, but damn, I was having fun, so it didn't matter. Stress didn't know what to make of it.
I'm sure if you told them that you were a man that talks about video games for a living, they still would have thought you were crazy.
That's true. I don't know if that would have brought me back any credence there. It's an emphatic wrestling fan. I can put that on my Twitter bio. Wrestling's rubbish. Don't watch it. Well, Longzhu calmed down after getting a nice setup. This action in the top lane has never stopped.
Oh,
It's basically the telecom war in one lane.
it's so good. Oh, look at that hit. Twisted advance. 10 out of 10. Great performance. Why go to a wrestling show or a concert when you can just watch Gragas versus Maokai all day?
Yeah, it's definitely the same. It's the battle of two tanks is just exactly like a wrestling match.
You know, surprisingly, at least in my experience for the most part, and actually maybe I'll hold that thought as
Zoning thrill hunt here.
yeah, he's going to go on a thrilling hunt. A couple more shots and the turret won't fall. There we go. First brick goes over. I'll say actually some of the most intense mosh pits that I've seen in my concert career have been at ska concerts.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that.
It's not so much moshing and hitting each other so much, but they get pretty rowdy in there.
Oh.
So go see somebody like Streetlight Manifesto. It's really upbeat music. Stuff gets a little bit crazy sometimes, just like this fight. Beyond dashing back with collateral damage. One more shot from that curtain call would take him out, but he's out of range. Fourth final does find Maha. TP canceled in the top lane.
I'd say that was by his own volition. I
might have
imagine that the Gragas cask was used to interrupt it, given that it's on cooldown.
Yeah, so does get taken out.
It's another cool thing about Gragas is that you can lane him against Shen. He has multiple ways to interrupt between the body slam and the ultimate.
Yeah. It's what like Maokai with the Arcane Smash and the Twisted Advance.
Yep. I mean, Arcane Smash is pretty short range, though. The ultimate from Gragas, certainly a lot longer. If Edge of the Night is ever nerfed enough, it's going to be a good interrupt to the Jhin, but not quite right now. What about the Mighty Mighty boss tones? Are they popping off with mosh pits?
I forget the name of his job. I think he's called like a jumper or something. But they literally just have a guy on the squad at their concerts that is just there to dance on stage and get people like excited and make them dance in the pit. But they're not too crazy. Real Big Fish also can be a little bit insane. I mean, they have a song called In the Pit, singing about moshing and having steel-toed boots and kicking people. So that gets people going.
Endorsed by the band. Although, probably shouldn't follow everything a band tells you. Some of it's illegal.
Just a bit. We're just generally unhealthy.
Noticed from Max and other Malzahars this week that WMax is now so unreliable that QMax is pretty common now on Malzahars. Suppression duration does go down. You end up having about 30% uptime on AoE silence, which is pretty insane actually when you get some cooldown reduction. One of the big hidden powers of his kit, everyone remembers the ultimate. They were fearful of the Voidlings, but the Voidlings have kind of fallen away, so now it's the AoE silence and the ultimate that are really the notable things.
Longer to come out, you have the cooldown from where you can spawn multiple minions.
I mean, the biggest power was when people didn't know what they did and you just maxed them, they didn't know you were maxing them, and then the melee support died instantly. But people kind of figured that out, and they've been target nerfed, so...
You know, I'm kind of curious. I think that Game 3 of KT versus SKT might have been the first time we had double melee support in a while.
We've seen it a bit. You remember that when we see Tahm Kench, people like play with Taric and other things.
That's
when you feel safe enough, you run it.
It's been a while.
Basically, someone has to opt into Tahm Kench, and then the enemy's like, ooh, Trundle, Taric.
Trundle, there we go. That's a throwback at this point.
True. Still pretty good, you know? You don't have the QSS to cancel the ultimate, the Contaminate.
I mean, it's just surprising that we don't... I mean, again, range supports, but I was going to say, you know, with how unkillable these tanks are, having Trundle around would be quite nice, but getting to that laning phase is just hellish.
It is really painful, like you say. So instead, we get what we get. Mages with lots of gold, and Maokai versus Gragas.
Zyras that outdamage their mid laners.
Not so much misfortune you've noticed this week. And on 7.3, that fell away. I guess Zyra got nerfed. Less Zyra, so less Misfortune almost has been the way. More stuff can lane into Malzahar nowadays, so don't have to think about the Misfortune as much. Was definitely a counter-pick support champion.
ADD is getting some nice alone time with that turret. His expressions down here had to walk down.
Only has defensive wards to teleport to unless Longzhu start the Drake.
Don't think they want to do that. You see package ready to expire, so Ian just takes a ride back into the lane. They'll be clearing out those waves. Longzhu, they will go ahead and start this up.
There's one teleport ward you'll see next to the red turret, but it's only an Ocean Drake, so just leave it be, decides MVP. They need to start breaking these turrets. They really need to.
He's working on it.
He is, but it's only an answering turret. First brick was picked up by Prey, Gorilla, and I believe it was Crash in the bot lane earlier. MVP needs to start the turret race. They equal it up, but equal is not enough for the snowball comp they've drafted. That was a weird way to say drafted.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Sometimes silly, Achilles.
Well, first turret pick up here for MVP. Ocean Drake on either side. So much regen. But otherwise, still going to be slow moving forward. A little over 2,000 gold lead here for Longzhu. Haven't been able to stretch much more on top of that. Nor get damage on turrets.
Nope. Farm it is. People asking about Atlas, who will be joining us soon. Still looks like it's about 2 weeks away. I think I've heard that for about 2.5 months now, but it sounds more 2 weeks than before.
There's a little bit more reassurance this time around. We'll see.
It's real when it's real. When you see him in the chair, he's here.
Yeah.
Don't trust Twitter. It can mislead you.
He's on the plane right now.
Don't trust Twitch chat. They'll let you think that Azael's always there.
Yeah. He's ever present. Just lurking in the shadows.
I don't know. He's pretty conspicuous with his big smirk.
Did somebody need a caster?
Always has his headset ready for some reason. I think he brings his own headset.
He might. It's always prepared.
That's fair. Then you can always sub into cast. You even have your own headset. It'll be his time to shine eventually.
The day that every NA caster gets sick and he has to actually solo cast.
They really need.
That'll be just.
They really need to do it.
The memes come to an apex at that point.
Look, I've infiltrated Riot by going to Worlds and working with them. They like memes, I'll tell you. So.
This seems like a good April Fool's Day type thing that they could do.
Now, convincing the producers to allow a color casters solo cast is going to be a difficult one.
Do it for the memes. Fly, going in, tries to lock down Ian, can't do it, gets locked down himself. Nethergrass comes through. Early Silence trying to evacuate. To get hit by that rocket. Yeah, or Crash comes up with the kill, leaps back over onto the minion, but ADD is there to follow up. That big hit from the W. Drunken Rage takes out the Rengar. Body slams back in onto Gorilla. That's a flash away. Collateral damage.
Oh.
Almost takes him out. Throws down the Stranglethorns. Will pop up ADD as they try to keep pursuing forward. But Longzhu, they have to hightail it out of here.
Didn't have enough members. Rise out of the fight for a long time. Skills traded. Obviously a trade up when you're MVP. Getting out the enemy support. But no realistic Baron preference going to be coming through. Or priority for MVP. So they back away. Want to be trading up with the snowball comp and not trading up Achilles.
So aggressive by Fly. Did have the backup of Crash, but couldn't get the lockdown on Ian in time to really make it meaningful.
He was also fighting, far away from where the teleport was going to be. So actually going 1-for-1 was surprising on the side of Longzhu. They did butcher this pretty hard, but not get punished in any real way.
Gorilla just a sliver here.
Ooh. That's single digit right there.
Yep. One more swing from that minion.
Not to be.
He could have gotten promoted. Instead he loses his life. Fly now, just going to posture up in the top lane. Try to work his way in towards that tier 1 turret to net another one.
1-3-1 has begun. Rise in a side lane. Corki no package, so going to be very slow to react. And considering a dive here.
Yeah, it's going to be Thrill the Hunt coming through. Gorilla arriving. Ray, just a little bit away, offering up those deadly flourishes for now. ADD's wrapping around from behind. But they want to go for this. Realm Warp takes them out.
The way they ran into it made us think that it was going somewhere else. Didn't see the visual indicators. That was hilarious.
They juked out the Observer a little bit too. Took him a second to
I like to think the Observer's shaking his fist at them now. It's like, "Arrgh. Kids and your jukes." That's how he talks. He speaks English, apparently.
Well, this is about as polarizing as it could be after that first set.
Very much working through it slowly. So we're looking for the dive, but the Caitlyn traps were enough, and now the front on Assault.
He's got the cast, pops back in the Rengar. Ace in the hole coming through. Is it enough? No. Gorilla body blocks, collateral damage, plus the Malefic Visions might be enough, but they expire just before Crash goes down. Meanwhile, Prey, 3 and Sniper, able to take out Max. That's a 1-for-0 in favor of Longzhu, and they get the tier 1 turret, so finally trading up.
Frustrations are probably starting to set in for MVP. They're getting members on slivers of health. They need the extra gold imminently to justify the comp they've selected, but it's being denied. Once on Gorilla, now also in the mid lane onto Crash. Able to turn around and get a kill. Continue scaling up, continue farming. 2 items now on most of their members. Rod of Ages about to pay off as well. Game has gone comfortably as you like for Longzhu, but that suits them just fine.
Yeah. Special just holding the wave. Make sure that they can't push in. Utilize this Trinity Force onto the turret. Mark treads here for Ian, so I'm not opting into the Sork Boots like we typically see, so won't be outputting as much damage as a normal Corki, but still will have a plethora to offer up. Second Ocean Drake picked up here for MVP, 3rd of the game overall.
Nice timings hit by them. You look at Ian and Maha both do a lot of damage to basically every member, short of Expression. Not going to get the Force. You know, 1-3-1 is so hard for them to navigate unless they go for a real all-in.
Oh, 5-member here in mid lane for ADD. He body slams forward, but hits the plant. That'll have him taking a lot of damage.
For the Realm Warp.
They haven't thrown it out. No, they threw it out, but they didn't go for it. Or sorry, he was coming up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Never mind.
He weren't grouped with the
His range
Rise.
isn't large enough to join in all the way.
It does mean the recall from ADD. We might see a teleport. Pretty defensive
trying
one.
to zone them back, especially going to get locked down by the Nethergrass. Big burst of damage from end of the line by Beyond. Still has that collateral, throws it out. Catches 3 members. ADD comes forward, gets rooted immediately, unable to throw out the explosive cask, so won't be able to come up with a pick. Special dead for 35 seconds. MVP, just how saucy are they feeling? They're going to stick around for this turret. They're going to go ahead and try to peel back Gorilla. Takes a decent burst of damage. Prey as well. But again, no ultimate from ADD. They'll just take the turret.
Yeah, the siege is really oppressive. No way to threaten for Longzhu because Expression is still dead.
Going for Baron.
20 seconds on Expression. They have a lot of Baron damage. They're going to try and brute force it.
They go ahead. They start this up. ADD is quite tanky. Level 15 here with the Scroggis. Almost down to half HP. Crashes up. Expression just 6 seconds away from being able to teleport in for a fight to throw out the control ward. Can they get the steal? It does happen! Crash goes in, takes it out, but can he exit with his life? The answer is going to be no. Maha comes up with a kill, but Bray already answers one back onto ADD. So now it's just the squishy members of MVP trying to retreat up towards this top side of the map, and Expression is there to cut them off. There's no turret, as you say. And this very well could just be a slaughter for the rest of MVP. Ian getting jumped on will go down as Prey comes up with a double kill. A double as well going over to Fly. Massive turnaround for Longzhu.
They get everything there, Achilles. They're able to take away the Baron. Nice smite from Crash. Slightly too early from Beyond. So you see the replay. A lot of teams like the ones we saw earlier today would turn at 4,000 health. Instead, they try to DPS it down. Beyond too early. Crash able to take it away with his smite. Certainly been on form with those smites. And then the moment the teleport comes through, MVP are boned. They're able to cancel the first Realm Warp. The Expression just flashes over the thickest part of the wall, and, well, you got a control ward, but no control of the situation. Shooting gallery for Prey, for Fly. Expression even has some fun as well. Goodbye to MVP, and now a big gold lead opened up by Longzhu.
Yeah, absolutely massive at this point. Tier 1 turret taken by Fly in the mid lane, so all of the outers now gone. Longzhu. Rift is pretty much their playground at this point. They can do just about whatever they want, barring some disastrous decision-making.
The worrying thing, though, is that you know, with the comp Longzhu has, or specifically the MVP has, although...
For Expression, Feathergrass comes down, doesn't take too much damage, won't get silenced. They pop it back in with the cast. In onto a trap. This will be him falling eventually, but you can see it takes quite some time, but they're not going to be trading up at all. Quite the opposite. Tier 2 goes down in the mid lane, just opening up the map even further for Longzhu. Ping's now coming out on that top side of the map. MVP identifying that very well could be the next target here.
Maybe it halts the 1-3-1, but no more than that for MVP. And as you say, they lose an objective in bot. In mid, sorry, they will look likely to lose an objective in top as well. 3 autos onto this turret.
Yeah, maybe if they had the explosive cask, toss that out, clear out the wave very quickly, or at least disperse it, try to knock somebody in that can come up with a pick. But having to commit that just to get the kill onto Expression means that MVP, they just barely hold on to that turret.
I mean, MVP started the game with the right moves. You know, they drafted this early game comp. Beyond went for the early invades. They tried to make things work in the early game, but to me, the surprise is that they slowed down. And you were talking about how easy it looked for Longzhu and how the fact that it was their playground. And it felt like even before the Baron, this game was kind of a casual stroll for Longzhu when MVP were on a timer. They should have been absolutely trying to roast them early and take this game down and get themselves a gold lead. But instead, I just played quite leisurely, allowed Longzhu to play their own game. The scaling starts to come through, and now I don't see how they ever come back into the game. So if you're going to draft this way, at least try to make the plays. And if you lose, you lose. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. This game just seems like it was inevitable after the early game that Longzhu would take it. Now they're going to take another turret and start to open up and inhibit a turret as a realistic objective.
Yep. Probably just a couple minutes away from that happening.
Every Rengar's had fun since Peanut did that.
That was just one of the most bizarre looking things I've ever seen, that whole play. But for now, Longzhu is going to go ahead, use their recalls, get some more purchases in.
Prey's decided he wants MVP this season. The most valuable Prey, no longer an ironic thing. Had to watch Smeb win double MVP last year. He's the superstar on this Longzhu lineup. Prey and Gorilla definitely the biggest calling card.
Going for that classic Dusk Blade of Drekthar coming in.
All the lethality now built. Sad days, can't build anymore. Has to buy some percentage armor pen instead. Could just be Infinity Edge last item or the last Whisper. We'll see what he decides.
See where he wants to go. Having that a rapid fire cannon, just going to keep him that much safer. MVP. Got to start up this Infernal Drake. Be a nice pickup for them, but albeit not enough for them to win the game, you'd have to say. They do get it. But that's just going to be Longzhu having a faster rotation up towards this top side of the map where they should be able to knock down that final inner turret.
That's the thing, they can ferry the minions in mid, okay. MVP's there to match them, so they just go to top. They have the minion waves pushing exactly the right time. So will be the third and final inner turret taken by Longzhu.
MVP might be looking to try something here. Gorilla going to get jumped on. Ace in the hole comes through, blocked out by Fly. And that's just going to be halted right there. Couldn't pop somebody back like ADD had wanted, just knocked him into the wall.
And then you're just at this point where Malzahar doesn't have the vision, cones of vision to actually look for a pick. Gragas, can try throwing out the ult, but it's much easier to flash these days than it used to be. And MVP, rinse, repeat, can try that, but in every other facet of the game, Longzhu has so many options. They're very, very far ahead. 10,500 gold. They lost game 1 against MVP in that previous series and looked like they could potentially lose game 2. It could have been a 2-0 on a different day for MVP. Longzhu definitely in full control at this point.
Yeah, have been for quite some time. Almost lost my train of thought there. I was going to say 50 CS away from the Flame Horizon here for Expression. Prey stretching quite a lead over Maha. Surprising on the Jhin.
Well, they're 50 CS up in 2 lanes, and also 30-odd CS up in mid, so
they're on their way.
That's 100 creeps that MVP haven't been able to get to.
A collective Flame Horizon.
The Team Flame Horizon. A much more common thing. Doesn't really deserve a name.
I mean, I would love to see an actual Team Flame Horizon where every member is 100 CS ahead of their opponent.
What's the support doing getting 100 extra CS?
I don't know. lot of relic shield charges.
And the most I've seen is like a double Flame Horizon and a second person who Flame Horizoned. I think I've seen that before. But rare to see 3 Flame Horizons in a game.
Games probably should be over by that point. Now 10,000 gold lead, Longzhu. They want to just pressure forward, try to get a team fight. It's like the answer may just be yes. Fly starting to poke in, TP on the backside.
Every angle covered by Longzhu.
Cutting them all off. Fly still looking for the opening to just maximize his damage. Expression goes in deep, locks up Maha. Shield coming through from him, keeping him alive at the moment. Expression getting locked down. Nethergrass comes out. He's going to die. Max finds the kill, but he pays for that one with his own life. But MVP not going down without a fight. Able to find 2 kills. Realm Warp here from Fly. Dashes away from where Ian was at. So far, 3 for 2 in favor of Longzhu. Ian trying desperately to get out of here. Looks like he may be able to do so, unless Trey and Gorilla can get a nice deadly flourish coming in.
No damage on him yet, so would require an auto attack or some other form of damage to hit the root. Or a flash. That's a big investment by Prey.
Yeah, really greedy for the kill. Trying to get that. Wasn't really able to do so. And now with the the tankier members of Longzhu dead, they can't even try to just transition that straight into a Baron.
It's a really nice setup. The fact they came from every angle meant they had to opt into something they didn't want to. There was going to be initiation of some sort, and that ends up being Expression. But Prey being as far out as he was obviously meant safety, but didn't have any damage output in the large majority of the fight, so they win 3-2. Should have been more one-sided given the gold lead. Which now is around 10,000 only.
Might have had a kill if Fly didn't take the Realm Warp. I would have been able to cut off Ian there on that rotation. But Longzhu, they're going to go ahead, start up this Baron. They have plenty of damage to offer. Beyond has to come up huge with the steal.
It was a steal from Crash that got Longzhu cemented ahead.
See, Beyond comes in. He's able to take it away. A second steal in the same game. He gets locked down, still quick draws out. Prey opens up the curtain call, but the cast comes into the back line and interrupts it. And Longzhu, that's a bit of a facepalm moment there.
Well, it seems like both teams have made a gentleman's agreement to let the other jungler get into smite range.
That's quite gentlemanlike.
It is indeed.
A little too gentlemanlike.
Don't often see 2 Baron steals in the same game in the LCK, especially from different teams.
Can we get a third?
I hope not.
Please don't let it come to this.
Maybe this one has to happen. Maybe to have the first series, we must have the second series.
That's true. At least it's not a generic series.
Balancing all things. Irelia approves.
Oh, Crash getting jumped on.
Oh, he's dead.
Big burst of damage. Yeah, collateral damage coming through from Beyond, able to take him out. And they can't really fight over this red buff anymore. There we go. The smite comes through. Now 50 seconds on the clock. MVP starting to claw their way back into this.
I mean, this is sort of comp that's so good with Baron buff. Triple AD carry. They're going to get bonus objectives they should never have had access to. Worst case scenario for Longzhu to give up Baron.
That should just be another turn going down. Actually, no, the Strangledorns come out. Expression dashes forward, helps get the kill on the Maha. Big damage taken away from MVP. Now, if they can just get Ian and get rid of all of it, able to take out Beyond. Going to be the body slam over the wall from ADD. Max getting locked up. He is dead to rights. We'll take out Gorilla with him as he tosses out the Nethergrass, but they'll just ultimately kill each other. Expression
waiting for ranges.
On the hunt, trying to get in range, but he won't be able to do it. The Valkyrie's there. Longzhu should probably go do Elder Dragon right now.
I don't think we should give them objective shot calls. They don't seem to know what to do. Well, they will get it. They listen to your Achilles.
Maybe Fly could theoretically solo it.
Let's be real. It's not a surprise that Longzhu is looking a little bit rusty. They have lost their coach very recently in the last 3 or 4 days and clearly still have plenty of adapting to do with their new coaching staff. Doesn't necessarily justify what has been sloppy play from both teams.
Good hold, though. They're waiting for Gorilla to come up before they kill this. So everybody has the buffs. But is it enough?
I mean, it's nice to get the buff on, specifically the Zyra, because the plants will also apply the burn. Reminds me of the old days of the Spirit of the Elder Lizard Leandri's Zyra.
Oh, God.
Invented by a rioter, actually. I forget who. I think it was a playtester. He was like, this is pretty cool. And they were like, whoa, this is broken as hell.
You're fired.
or hired or promoted. Hard to say.
He's a janitor now.
6 items already achieved for Prey. But 6 items going to start coming out on multiple members, even more expensive build pass. Look at Maha, who's already at 5 expensive items. Longzhu have a big compositional advantage, but they make another couple of brain fades, then there's nothing to say that this won't be MVP's game.
I mean, now they have the Elder Dragon. It's still just under 10,000 gold that they have as a lead. Mercurial Scimitar here for Fly. Gonna be autoing so hard.
Gotta get those auto attack weaves in, now suddenly that much more consequential. Gives him move speed as well.
Yeah.
Or that's on the Q. Is that on the QSS now? I forget.
I think on the active, yeah.
I think it's only on the Mercurial Scimitar active. It used to only be melee champions that got the movement speed, but now I think it's all champions.
Well, I'm ready to see Fly just auto somebody to death.
Be pumping out the mixed damage, Achilleos. Now you have to buy armor against the Rise. Feels bad, man.
Awful.
I tried.
It's all right. Beyond's great. He's got those ninja tabbies ready to go.
That's right.
Doesn't need any MR. Just needs to worry about mitigating that auto damage.
It's all about the auto attack weaving.
See, that's nothing compared to his autos.
Well, it's time for a thrilling hunt.
Party hunt coming through. But nothing to be found here for Crash. Longzhu, in the meantime, will be pushing up at the bottom lane. Prey gonna go ahead, opens up with the curtain call. Well, not hitting anything really. There we go.
Got a spell shield.
He got the passive away from Max. Yeah, that's about it. Wave clear here from MVP, still quite strong, so Longzhu might just be waiting for another Baron.
MVP have basically the most wave clear, so very, very difficult to brute force 5v5 down a turret. Could go for a dive with the Maokai, but that's about all you could do. Feels like the macro has taken a step down since Series 1.
Oddly enough.
We're trying the front door, hope they don't steal Baron approach to winning games.
Ah, my solo queue has bled out into LCK.
I know what rank you are. That's not a good thing, Achilleos.
It's not. It's really not. But it's reminiscent. It's a rough, transition going from that telecom war to this.
I mean, it had a lot of promise, but it's been pretty elementary mistakes made by both teams. Whenever there's 2 teams stealing Baron, someone messed up, goofed, you could say.
We went from everyone saying, like, the gap is not closing to maybe it kind of is. It's not, but.
Gap between SKT and KT and the rest of the teams seems to be growing.
Yes.
Longzhu, remember, were 3rd and would be 3rd if not for their penalty point that they incurred from their coaching change. Not looking like a team that's going to take matches away from KT or SKT. Now you start to wonder. Compositionally, Longzhu have a lot more options in the late game, but 6-item Caitlyn, 6-item Corki. Somehow they're free hitting. Big mistake is made by Expression. Oh, he isn't at a fight. A lot of burst damage for MVP.
Just need to line everything up properly. Oh my god, look at that damage on a Beyond. Curtain call opened up immediately here for Prey. Should still do a decent amount to ADD, but can't get that 4th and final shot. Baron now spawning. They chunk out Beyond. He's going to have to go back to the base. Can he get there in time to contest this? Looks like the answer may be yes, because Longzhu, not everybody's inside the pit.
Well, Ocean Drake will start to become relevant. Might mean he can take an auto when he tries to go in for the inevitable steal.
Yeah, it's getting bumped back up ever so steadily. Crash goes in, takes a bit of damage. Still has that Guardian Angel. They peeled off the Baron, so this resets.
I've seen this before.
It's oddly familiar, yes. Ian getting locked down. Fly goes forward, tries to pop him, flashes towards the back of the pit for that one. Nethergrass connects onto Expression to get a lot of damage down on the Maokai. Pop his GA. Beyond's in the pit. He seals it yet again. And a Longzhu just going to have to exit.
I'm not going to talk for a little while. I've got nothing nice to say. And my mother said if I have nothing nice to say, not to say anything.
Twitch chat right now, she's like, please, speak your mind, Papa Smithy. Oh dear. Well, this devolved very quickly. An MVP now look like they might win the game.
They might, Achilles. They might win the game. What a game it's been. Telecom War-esque, I would say.
A Titanic turnaround.
Yes. Factually, what has happened?
This does look like the Titanic for Longzhu, to be fair.
Well, now Longzhu have to deal with a second Baron for some reason. I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah, I'm kind of running out of things. The tank is empty.
Now Longzhu does have to deal with Baron buff minions and triple sieging. We mentioned the first
Their
deal.
wave clear is not great.
It isn't great. Their hard engage is good, so maybe the Realm Warp of the Maokai into the backline will do something, but you lose that and the game's over. Baron buff with a siege comp is something that's so hard for them to get because usually they have no tank. In this case, they have the Gragas, but it wasn't relevant given that both Barons were steals. And now it's just all about grouping up, looking for as many free objectives as possible. Very difficult to stop this. Look at the big ones coming out onto the Jhin.
Hurts him quite a bit. The Trinity Force makes quick work of the remaining HP on that turret. Ian.
Nice rotation from
His
MVP.
way up. Yeah, that's going to be it. The first inhib turret broken. As MVP start to push into the base. Collateral damage, not going to connect on the prey. Just a couple frames away from that one. Ian takes a lot of damage. Fly, able to pick him off. Could be a nice opening for Longzhu. Crash coming in through all the hunting, especially with a deep TP in the backside. Can he find a target? Goes in on top of all 4 members of MVP. Redemption's exchanged on either side. Max gets popped up. Should be going down, and he does. That's another kill going over to Prey.
That's
But
free hitting
on the backside finds a double kill. Looks like he might just be the only one making it out with his life. Prey comes up big in the exchange.
It should be winning the team fights, and are also canceling out 4 Barons is really big for Longzhu. That will extend the game further. MVP, if they'd gotten some kills there, probably would have been able to end. They had so much sieging.
Or at least the inhibitor.
And not even picking up the inhibitor because of the nice kill from Fly. Him picking up a single kill meant that even Gragas was flashing away defensively. Nobody dies, and this is just fine, but Fly walks over, and basically between an auto attack from Prey and 2 spells from the Rise, he kills him. And ADD flashing here, ends up tanking for sure, but really good engage onto multiple members. At the end, Caitlyn's free hitting, so you think there might be a turn, but the numbers advantage comes up trumps for Longzhu.
Yeah.
In the backline, a lot of damage coming out from Maha, but not enough.
Got baited by the Ventral Maelstrom. Thought it was a redemption for the side of Longzhu. Did get them some redemption, though. But Gorilla not buying that one on the Zyra. So.
Gorilla's doing a lot of damage, but obviously super, super squishy. With this
Point
build.
Staff, Source of Shoes with Leandri's on top of that. And there's just going to be more AP coming through.
Bray's just desperate for an MVP. Doesn't have boots anymore.
Still has not died.
Nope. 16 out of 19 kill participation. Wondering what's going on in front of him, probably.
Probably. I mean, MVP win here would tie him up in first place alongside Score and Haru.
To be clear, that's a most valuable player win and not an MVP, the team series win.
He would like both of those.
It's true.
To win over MVP.
It gets confusing when they name themselves MVP.
Hooray.
But to be fair, they were an org before
Long-standing,
we decided to name it the MVP. So, long-standing org in the Korean scene in multiple games. StarCraft most prominently. Seems like the Korean cast is having a bit of a giggle as well.
I'm sure they are. They got 3 minds to put together to come up with something to talk about here. For now, though, might just be another Smite battle, this time over the Elder Drake. Let's see who wants to start this one up. Does get engaged.
A lot of wards.
MVP be committing to this one. The most it would seem is it's lower and lower, almost on a half HP. Locked down onto Expression. We'll pop the GA. Crash for an opening. Prey sniping out from the backside. Beyond is able to take out Gorilla. 2 members dead on the side of Longzhu. That's going to be the Elden Drake going over to MVP. Buffed up 3 times to Ocean plus an Infernal. And yet again, you have to think that MVP has what they need to close out this game.
The reason why we're seeing this pattern happen again and again is the minion waves have basically been equalized in top and bot. We're not seeing the sort of minion pressure that we saw in game 1, so it can just be a standing deathmatch or a smite war to decide the game. And on balance, MVP, 3 out of 4 have gone their way. They're rolling up. They have Infernal Drake with 3 stacks on multiple members. These turrets will die very quickly, and the teamfight damage is not to be ignored either. I mean, so with the death timer, 25 seconds still on Expression, they can look to either 3 inhib or end the game.
It's like second inhib going to be the next objective.
Caitlyn does obscene damage.
Probably going to go straight in for the Nexus turrets after this, you would expect, but the waves aren't quite there. So they'll exit. Hey, Baron's in 50 seconds.
That's true. Is it Longzhu's turn?
I think it is. Beyond got 2 in a row.
That's
so
true.
The patterns just crash, beyond, crash, and so on and so forth, until
I go boom.
Yeah. That was a better way to put it. I wasn't sure how I was going to phrase that.
The stages of grief is what I've gone through in this particular game. I think I'm in acceptance. Maybe not.
I think I'm still in denial. This has happened.
It's been the least 4th versus 5th place game we've had in a while for sure.
I'll know that you're truly insane when you start touting this as the best of 3 that has ever been played.
I can only say that once a night. It's in my contract.
Whose clause was that? Yours or Ochien's?
I think it was a bit of both. We both need the insurance. We could fight around Baron. That's the thing we've been doing all game.
Well,
MVP have good setup around it. Also have good turn damage. So this is actually pretty difficult for Longzhu to start, but they'll begin with a thrilling hunt.
I don't think they want to start it because that means that they end up getting it stolen away.
It's quite possible.
Look at this. Just like, yeah, we're right on the edge. 368 to 80D. Not going to take anything.
Well, Ian goes for a zoning package.
Just pops it before it expires.
Ooh,
Crash on the backside of the pit.
Let's fight for the Baron.
And they disengage.
Whoa, they disengage. That hasn't happened in so long.
They can't steal it from us if we don't commit to it.
That's what they should have realized 3 Barons ago.
Some real innovation we're seeing on the screen. The next level of League of Legends is being developed right here in front of your eyes.
I think we're working out the bugs for the real series. That's what we're doing.
Yep. Well,
this time it won't be stolen.
Okay. That's a first for this game.
Look at that. They waited till the minions pushed up and then took the Baron uncontested. Next level League of Legends.
I love how facetious you're being right now.
I don't like how this game is playing out, Achilles.
Oh. It's just great because everyone thinks of you like, oh, Papa Smith, you cheery guy. The jolly old Australian. Little do they know.
Not daddy tier, unfortunately.
How angsty can... Yeah, you're not daddy tier.
Oh.
All right, well, here we go. Longzhu, the Hail Mary. TP coming through, Crash. Winning in the backside. Immediate Nether Grasp down onto Expression. Jumps on top of ADD. Got plenty of HP to go around. They can't even get halfway through him to pop the GA. Expression trying to retreat. Oh, there we go. Nice shot going into the back line by Prey. Is able to at least get rid of the Guardian Angel, but can they stop the push?
Reminder that Prey is still legendary at 9-0-7.
Maybe the payout from killing him is enough for MVP to end this game. Maybe they just need all 3 inhibitors. Third one getting ready to go down. Super Creep's pushing into the bottom side. That Nexus turret will fall in just a couple hits. And this should be the end of the game. 53 minutes on the clock. Expression going back in yet again onto the Gragas. He's in the hole into Prey.
Prey's done.
He's dead. First death of the game. Right in time for it to end. Maha having so much damage to offer for his team. They will clean up Longzhu. Crash, the only one escaping back to the pit. And there we go, game 1. Going over to MVP.
I mean, what to say? MVP had 2 Barons given to them they should never have gotten. Their comp only works if they have the minion pressure of the Baron. They certainly didn't set up side waves to have such pressure. but being gifted 50-50 Barons. One went over to Longzhu, 2 in a row to MVP. They take down the game, but no one should come away happy from this game. Not the players, not the crowd, not the casters certainly. And it's a frustrating one because the VOD review for this game, that was 53 minutes,
Brutal.
will be about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Or maybe it'll be just simple. Not that.
Let's not leave out the viewers as well in that list.
Yes. The viewers, oh ye viewers at home, I'm sorry. We thought we'd have an excellent series to follow up the first one, but I guess I can't speak for the whole series. The first game was...
It could very much develop into that if Longzhu can look on form, come back in here, and force us into the series. Otherwise, if MVP looks on point and closes out with a 2-0, be very nice moves for them at the start of the second round of spring. But as you said, both teams, neither side can feel great about that.
Sung wasn't in the booth for their game earlier this week, and they looked a lot better than this. Now Longzhu, so many massive decision-making mistakes that MVP capitalized on, and, you know, on balance deserved to win. Longzhu were more disrespectful around Baron, good steals from beyond. MVP 1-0 up, but maybe we haven't seen that much of this series yet.
Yeah, we'll see if Crash can gather himself, get those smites on point. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have Game 2. See if MVP can close this one out with a 2-0, or if Longzhu will get competitive and make it a series and actually lock down those Barons. Because right now, it seems like St. Vicious has replaced Crash in the booth.
Getting rid of the Barons as an objective is an important thing for both teams. This game was certainly won and lost around that objective.
Yep. Rough times, but always a chance to bounce back if you're Longzhu. We're going to go to that break. We'll see you guys in just a few.